Hi, welcome to High Road to You. This is Mark Stouffer. And in this video, I want to give you some resources to overcome extremely toxic relationships. And the story that I want to tell you is a true story. I'm going to paraphrase it, but it was told by a psychiatrist that was called into a psychiatric ward. And he was there to, help this family overcome. The mom, the wife had a nervous breakdown and she was admitted to a psychiatric ward. And I'm sorry, I'm finding this comical because I grew up in a similar environment when there's, toxic relationships. My mom was admitted into a psychiatric ward. I was a very young kid at the time, but ultimately it's families that aren't setting boundaries on each other and on themselves to overcome, right? They see the Whitecaps cloud formation, but they just keep going out into deeper water until it just escalates to a point of complete, utter chaos. And it doesn't have to be. So ultimately, this is a story about Billy. He knows his parents on vacation, comes in, breaks into the house, has a big party, destroys the house. And the cops are called, the neighbors are called, and then the parents are called home from their vacation to, come home to a complete wreck of a house. And then the two siblings, they chime in about Billy, stealing cars, stealing money, dealing drugs and all the elements that he's bringing into their life. And the psychiatrist, hears this and says, okay, stop. I've heard enough. Let me talk to Billy. And they said, well, Billy's not here. He's in the Alps. He's skiing. and he says, well, Billy doesn't have any problems. He's in the Alps skiing and I'm in a psychiatric ward with you. And so if you think about that, I grew up in an environment where, it's nobody's fault but your own, right? It's your boat. Okay. It's your boat. You see the Whitecaps cloud formation, you turn the boat around, you get into safe harbor, high ground. You decide who's in your boat and who's not in your boat. And hopefully whoever's in your boat, you're synchronizing, right? There's a mutual respect and accountability, right? That's what makes life really work well. So I want to read this to you because it really resonated with me. And I hope it resonates with you if you find yourself in this situation. Growing apart from those we love is a tough pill to swallow, but it's also part of the journey we all go through. While these shifts in our relationships may feel like losses, they often bring about change, growth, and sometimes the discovery of new connections along the way. Life is a way of pushing us forward, even when we're not quite ready. But growing apart doesn't have to be the end of the story. It's simply another chapter, one that might lead us to unexpected places, new experiences, and perhaps a deeper understanding of ourselves. Now, I'll tell you something. I learned early on at a very young age, I separated myself from the crab bucket syndrome, from those family members. We say this, misery likes company, okay? And I'll tell you this as well. It doesn't end well for those that aren't going to lead a healthy lifestyle, and they'll take you down with them. And it requires, I'm thankful that at a very young age, I found nutrition and sports. I lived at school. I lived at a trade school in a classroom where I immersed myself in things I was interested in. And I became more interested in nutrition, physical and social activity around people that were, ambitious and had, life, goals and didn't spend time loitering around, with nothing to do and finding themselves just, doing drugs and criminal activity. So it wasn't too difficult for me, as much as I could say growing apart from those we love. Yeah, I love my family. I love my family, but were they healthy? No. So I think having new relationships and creating new chapters in your life is really the only answer when you find yourself in those environments. And, I never regret, when I look back, I would never regret the decisions I made. And I'm thankful I made them at a young enough age where I could, have a world perspective today. Whereas I would be in this very little box, potentially in a very small prison cell, spending a lot of my life in and out of prison, like most of my family and friends ended up. So anyway, with that, I hope this message resonates with anybody that's going through these kind of toxic relationships, especially with family. And with that, I hope this message finds you well. I hope this encourages you, inspires you to take the actions that you may need to take and create some new chapters in your life. And with that, I wish you well.